Yeah, oh, Prof here. Gonna throw out some trash from the previous unboxings here. We've got two, and yes, we're gonna actually do two in this video, because this guy right here is a singular one, direct from Japan, and this is obviously a box of stuff, also from Japan. So let's lock you guys into the mount here. And we'll get our letter opener here. See, this is why exactly why I bought this thing. It's a letter opener, but pointy and sharp. What do we got? What do we got? You'd be surprised probably how hard this was to get. It is a fixed, apparently what the hip kids call fixie. I thought a fixie was a like a bicycle, but you know, I'm a boomer now, so actually I'm a millennial, but you know. This is very common for Japan to do, and it makes sense to me, so it doesn't move around. Instead of padding up the whole thing, just tape it to it. Or on a lot of my bigger things, I've shown it before, where they just use hot glue. What they do is they shrink wrap, there's a piece of cardboard on the bottom, they shrink wrap all your stuff to the piece of cardboard, and they hot glue the piece of cardboard to the bottom. Now, we have ran into an issue. There is a kitten in our box that needs to be moved. Paisley? Yeah, what are you doing there? Hmm? Paisley Marie? Yeah, I don't know if that's where the kittens are supposed to be. Yeah? Guys, it's not even a whole box. It's like a flap. Yeah? Is it good? Uh-huh. You got eye boogers again. How do you always have eye boogers? Always. You always got eye boogers. You don't think you want to take them out. Alright, the kitten's gotta move. Kitten. Paisley Marie. Tell everybody, you got nice stripers and you got polka dots on the other side. Well, not polka dots, like spots. She's striped on one side and spotted on the other. You can see her tiggy stripes right there. Yeah, you got tiggy stripes on this side? You do? Yeah, can we see the other side, maybe? No? You sure? You're gonna show people's? You can kind of see. Yeah, you're not gonna let them see? No? Oh. Almost. They want more pets? Okay. I'm being attacked, guys. Watch out. She's got weapons right now too. You got weapons. We gotta cut those. Yeah, you tell everybody you don't like it when we take your weapons away. No. Can I move your box? Yeah, come on. Ugh. There you go. So this is what was in there. Paisley was not in the box. She was already here. She came from a farm. I brought her home one day. My mom was like, "Did you really bring home a cat?" And I'm like, "Maybe." And there was a cat in the garage. And her name was Paisley. She's now eating the box and clawing the box. So in here, we have Blu-ray disc 2X, Blu-ray disc 2, CD maxi single. So it's a 2 Blu-ray disc. I think I just almost stabbed myself. A CD maxi single, Blu-ray disc, and compact disc. And yes, in Japan, you have to list all that stuff out. I mean, you can kind of have to do in the US with customs, but like when I ship this in Japan, a lot of times it's gonna have like the exact stuff. You'll see it when I forward things, and only companies can ship to companies. So I gotta be like, oh, I'm a company, and stuff like that. And often when I put things to get it to go through customs easier, actually I put the link, like the URL address of what I bought in there, because they request it. Whereas this stuff, it's shipping from a retailer, shipping directly from HMV to me. So it's a little bit easier, because it's a retailer doing the shipping. In the case of like when I traveled, I just shipped back my stuff from LTX. You can't really do that in Japan now because you as a person can't just write out a label. All labels need to be like pre-made and, like I said, with all that information on it. So there are places that have sprung up since that change. I think that was 2021. Might have been a little 2020. It's been a little bit now, but still to this day, shipping prices have gone up, and it's been a little bit harder to get stuff out of Japan. Now, Japan did that intentionally because they're worried about... Japan literally does not want to sell stuff internationally. It seems like if it's not coming, like, why should we sell it internationally? And in some cases, some of the stuff, their goods were like, I don't know, they're worried like more of their goods were leaving the country than exclusive goods were like leaving the country and stuff like that. I know a lot of their cars are now that 25-year import ban. Like people are importing those in mass and stuff like that. But for the most part, that style of this type of car that we want, and we're finally exporting from Japan, Japan really doesn't want anymore, necessarily. But yeah, so a lot of that's like due to export laws and like people shipping stuff directly to themselves. They just want to track it better. It all like definitely goes through customs now. And is checked. That's why you get calluses on your fingers, guys. And you're really wearing your fingies, so that when you rub your finger against a decently sharp and brand new as of this day blade, you don't actually cut yourself, because you just take off, like there's a mark in there, but not actually cut. Now I think this knife could be sharper than it is. Most definitely. Another downside to using blades like this is when you cut tape, they get goo on them and you gotta clean them. Somebody sent me a beep boop. You guys hear that? Oh. What's inside? Okay. Concatenated or something? I'll look at that. Holy jeez, I think we're like can't be at 900 megabytes a second. Maybe megabits, maybe not megabytes. I mean, theoretically, we could be at 900 megabytes. It does have 10 gig, but not to the internet. Now we have 5 gig internet, and that's the same setup. So in what Paisley just stole as her new bed was this guy here, which actually ended up coming from HMV. Even though H&B directly wouldn't sell this to me. However, record store, they have an eBay, and they must have someone reserved for that eBay, so I bought them. Or I bought one. This is Your Song Is Good's new single, You're Young, featuring Jolene, I think. And this is done with Aloha Got Soul, who is the ones that did, is it Coast to Coast? I think, Coast to something. This one is also not released digitally yet. So, Your Song Is Good. But yeah, listen to Your Song Is Good, Coast to Coast. Yeah, I was correct. Look at that. I somewhat remember my music. And yeah, so this is the new single from that collaboration of YSIG/Kabuki Rhythm with Aloha Got Soul in Hawaii. And the last one was a banger. This one will hopefully be the same. And it had sold out in the places that I could buy it directly from the store. I think Flake Records I've bought Kabuki Rhythm vinyls from before. Also HMV themselves, like directly from HMV. It wasn't able to buy it. So easiest way here, sadly I wanted to avoid it, but I had to pay shipping just separately for this one. I think it might have been $15. So like I think I ended up paying more on shipping on this than I did the item. But I really wanted this one. I have all other all but like one Your Song Is Good. But some of those older ones, these were before I was collecting, I've only been able to get used. So it was weird. A whole set of them was available except for one. Same thing happened with Soul and Pimp Sessions. Whole set was available except for one, used through HMV. Very weird. So one maybe got lost, or maybe that's why they became a thing, is because somebody didn't have the complete set or something. But yeah, I'm pumped about this. Yeah, what I thought was weird is that if you look at the box that Paisley is on, it actually came from HMV. Just like the next package you're going to see came from. So even though HMV said it was out of stock and it couldn't be shipped, etc., I bought it off of eBay, and it was from Record Shop Shibuya, which is actually an HMV record shop. I think it was Record Shop Shibuya. Might have been something. Might have been a different one. eBay.com. Let's look at our purchase history. Yep, Record Shop Shibuya. So Record Shop is in a reference to HMV Record Shop. So, I've bought from HMV's Record Shop Shibuya before. Actually, that is one of the most common places to get used items, because you can browse used items on HMV and then have them ship them. What they do is you can order them internationally, and HMV figures out how to get them all from their different record stores. They send them to the main shipping location, and then they ship them off to you, or me, in this case, internationally, which is super nice. And they'll actually compile them as well for a month as well. I really appreciate that, because shit like that doesn't happen in the US at all. And you're like, some of these things I get quicker, actually most of these I get quicker from Japan than I do in the US. Like, favorite thing recently actually is this guy here. That came China Post, passed through customs, went to a sorting center, missing for 14 days. Just missing. And people are like, oh, it's still in customs. I'm like, no, it literally cleared customs. Appeared yesterday, had it today. Almost guaranteed somebody lost the package that this was in. Almost guaranteed. Unless they're lying with the making it through customs. They're like, it's a knife directly from China. It's not like we can't get that in the US, though. I actually didn't measure if it's under 3 inches for the blade or not. It is a fixed blade. I don't even know if that matters for fixed blade. It's real close. Like real close, real close. 10% battery left. Guess we gotta hurry, guys. So in here, direct from HMV. HMV is now owned by Lawson, so they're HMV is like Lawson Entertainment now. Lawson is like the food conveni, or one of the food. Family Mart is another one, that sort of thing. But that's where they're like, Lawson seems recognizable. It is indeed. Oh, there's a brick right there of nice stuff. Let's get out what I will refer to as the letter opener. By the way, if you guys know a nice Ultim bead, I want to put a bead on here with a little bit of paracord, you know, right in there. Because like my hand just goes past there, and if you had a little bit of paracord hanging out, I could push against the bead and have a little bit of length. So, but getting out the letter opener. Oh, it's like a bag. This side's closed. This side's closed here. So they got a bubble wrap bag. Interesting. A Kydex holster is super fun. So, number 1. It is Masaki Suda and TOKYA SKA. This is the new opening for the Rurouni Kenshin. And I'm behind on it, but I am pumped just like Urusei Yatsura. But they did the new opening. I think opening might be ending. Doesn't say. Sometimes they'll have OP or ED in there in English, in the text. TV. I can tell it's one of the two. I don't remember. Might be ending. ELLEGARDEN. Some of you actually might know this, even though you don't listen to Japanese music, which you should if you're watching this, because this is a video about Japanese music. This Japanese music isn't in Japanese. It's in English. They'll have toured with Sum 41, and a bunch of that other, like, what do you want to say, 2000s era punk? Like, we're not talking, like heavy punk. I'm trying to remember other ones that they toured with. Brain. ELLEGARDEN. Brain. US tour. Foo Fighters, Sum 41. Heavily influenced by Weezer. Oh, Good Charlotte. So they toured with bands. Yeah, Blink-182, Sum 41, Good Charlotte. So that era. You've probably heard them and you don't even know it. Their lead singer does not sound like he is Japanese at all when he's singing, for sure. They disbanded over 10 years ago after their 10-year anniversary. It seems to be a thing in Japan lately that after 10 years, these bands I really like come back together and start making music again. And a lot of that also was right around COVID, the Corona-shan. So I don't know if that was why. In many cases, it actually messed up some of the, what do you want to call it, like reformations. That is why Thousand Boys is still there. Number Girl? I believe Number Girl disbanded. Yes, Number Girl. They actually had their last live. They had to put off their live concert by a year. So they had practice. Like, turns out, and this is something I guess that I never thought of, and I'm like, oh, you dum-dum. You've played in band before, like in concert band and jazz band. You have to practice a fuck ton. It would make sense that bands who play pop music or popular rock or whatever, like a standard band would have to practice. And especially if you're a band that hasn't been together in 10 years. Like, they've played in other bands, but they haven't played together in 10 years. It would make sense. You know, like in the case of Number Girl, because there's Zaz and Boys. There's a bunch of spin-offs there. Yeah, so, like, but it being delayed by a year meant they had to, like, put everything on hold because they were still playing for the concerts and stuff like that. And they're like, we just didn't make enough money because of Chan and COVID and not being able to perform. Like, their whole thing was not to be able to perform. They were going to have an initial concert and a whole tour. They had a concert, basically, is what ended up happening. So they reformed, did all this work, put all their projects on hold to reform for a concert. They did put out some stuff in between there to kind of make up for it a little bit, but they wanted to do a whole tour and all that sort of stuff. So that also happened. So some of these bands reformed, and like this extra time allowed them to do this stuff. And in other cases, they already had planned on reforming, and then that really screwed them up. So that you know, both ends happen. You know, so Bump of Chicken, Be There. 2023 tour. Bump of Chickens, I really think Bump of Chicken shines live. You've heard Bump of Chicken if you've watched anime. They've done an opening for Spy Family. They have done an opening for Pokemon. They've done numerous openings. Now, their stuff like that often gets overproduced because they can make the kind of I want to say soft rock, a pop soft rock sort of thing that you want, and they can even tweak it to like the genre, the show, the anime. Having seen the I think it was it Mappa? I forget animation studio that did Spy Family. They were at Anime Central. Spy Family. Anime, blah blah blah. Wit Studio. So yeah, Wit, because they also did Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga, and or am I thinking Mappa there? I might be crazy, but yeah, Wit was there, and they actually said they actually like redid and like retimed some of the stuff to the track once they had it. Which is perfect. That opening for Spy Family was beautiful. But a lot of that stuff, especially like the Pokemon one, if you've seen that one, way overproduced. A lot of their stuff is because it's done specifically for things. It's got a much better, like you can see, it's just condensed and formed, and everybody had like a piece in it. But like it's still very well written, very well done music. It's just that, remember when you're dealing with these very big corporate things, especially like Pokemon, like it's got to be perfect. And they make it perfect, which is almost too perfect. So their live stuff actually has more like, I don't want to say soul to it, but more feeling to it. Amazing. I actually, like, to be truthful, like their stuff, I liked certain songs. And listen to their stuff like that sort of stuff, but it was like almost like I avoided their anime songs. But then I saw some live concerts, and I'm like, oh, it's because I don't know if they're just a bit more personal control over the live stuff. So this is a 2-pack. Think about when you buy those DVDs, and if you notice, they've kind of done that with like the cover here. Get it, go, Summer Party, and then Documentary Lost and Found. Those were available. Judo chopped them separately. If you were truly collecting, I mean, I kind of am, you might have bought them separately. But this vibe, and I didn't, because like the artwork for, I think, was just this, but this is very much like a movie poster, and this is like a think about like a classic double feature. Think about, it's one of the Chainsaw movies. Like, it's that vibe. That B movie, if not C movie. I don't know if C movies are a thing. I think they are. But, that vibe. Very, very cool, very cool. We got a postcard in here, and you can't see it because the postcard is covering it. Asian Kung Fu Generation,
Tour 2022. And you're like, Tour 2022. Yes, this came out end of 2023. And if you're wondering why, delayed. So, also, I was behind on buying all of these. Yeah. Like these are late 2023 ones. This one was out for quite some time. This ELLEGARDEN Off the Wall tribute is a tribute to them by other bands. So Von D. Bish, Blue and Count, Saucy Dog. I don't remember the Japanese ones, but one of those two is actually a band I regularly listen to. Either way, these are like more modern band. I don't know if all of them are saying more modern, but you know, like a tribute of them. Previously, this was only available in digital release on a singular platform. Now, this was available in limited quantities as a physical release, and this is over I want to say 3 years. So this has been happening in Japan, and this, I don't think this is one of them, but I have other ones that are like this, where I want to say it's a best of the Back Horn album. Something I've been noticing, streaming is taking off in Japan. So there have been actually for a number of years already been singles that are digital only, right? Digital only singles. That's been a thing. And even then, some of them aren't necessarily digital only, but it'll be like the single is available digitally, like the single track, like not even the B side. If you want the B side, sometimes B side's available digitally, but a lot of times they might even cut the B side from the digital release. Often those singles may also only be available when digitally available, only available in lossy. They're not lossless like a FLAC or even better. And then you can buy the physical release, which will have the A side, the B side, and probably instrumental versions, karaoke versions. Maybe if you buy the limited edition, you'll get a music video, that sort of stuff. Well, what I've been noticing is that then the reverse will happen, right? So like, what that is that's like kind of a reason to get you to get the physical release, is because they're putting, and I don't disagree with that, to be truthful, because what they're doing is they're giving you a reason to go out and buy the physical copy. Even on some of them where like you get the A side and the B side, you won't get the instrumental or the karaoke version or the music video. Or a lot of times, one thing that really draws me to these is that it will come with a live concert as the B, like it'll be a 2-disc set, and it'll come as a live concert either on a CD, on a DVD, or on a Blu-ray. And the only way to get that live concert is on that second disc by buying the single. I don't mind that because it's pushing their new, hey, listen to our new track, and then say if you were at this tour last year, you can get the live, a live, either a compilation or a full live concert of our last tour, which is I actually quite enjoy it, because if I really like a band, a lot of times their performances will be better live a lot of times. Because they've had time to refine it, or they're performing more in person, that sort of stuff. And a lot of the ones, when they don't do the compilation, or they just then they're picking and choosing the best version. But when they do a whole concert, like they will purposely pick the biggest concert. And a lot of times they prepare specifically for it. Better audio. Oh, by the way, if you guys think live audio sucks, or like live tracks suck, you haven't listened to one that's properly recorded. And Japan really has like even the smallest, like maybe not the smallest, but like even very small venues will be properly set up to do live at the board recordings. And if you're wondering, so if you ever hear like, and this is maybe not unless it's been like stealthily recorded from the audience, but if it's a like people complain about hearing the audience in a live recording, right? And they're like, oh, I don't like that about that. It's picking it up. No. They're mixing that in, because the track that's coming back to like the singers and players and stuff, that's a monitoring track. They're listening themselves, or they're listening to the band as a whole. That's not in there. If they set up the microphones correctly, they're not picking up anything, because there's a pattern. They're making, because they have physical monitors. Like you'll see in-ear on monitors, but a lot of times they'll still have monitors on the stage. The microphones are set up to not even pick up the monitors, much less the audience. Not saying that can't happen, but you get feedback if you did hear that sort of stuff. So they're actually mixing that in. Not always the case. That's all preference. Like if the band wants more, or the producer wants more, or the whatever, when they make the actual CD or live track. But like seriously, listen to a good one. A lot of times, or like if you want an example of that sort of thing, go listen to the first take on YouTube, especially the earlier stuff. And now that they're getting some either less popular or even foreign artists on there, they're just so raw because it's just straight in. They get a single performance. Originally, they didn't even allow mixing, so it was just raw voice. In many cases, it wasn't even like the original. The ones that are done better don't have like the original, like say if they're a vocalist, the played track that's already mixed and everything over it. They would have just somebody playing a piano version, or just a guitar version, or just a bass, like that sort of thing. Those are the better ones. Like TK, his tracks are just his vocal range, and he was one of the first ones to kind of get more of his band in there, but it was still all acoustic, tastefully done. Later on, I think, because it's the first take's put on by Sony, and Sony's massive. I mean, they own like 4 or 5 streaming audio sites alone just in Japan. This is why many of them got killed, because like Sony, like how Japan works in many cases, they will literally, like the same company will make multiples of the same thing and make them compete each other, whereas in the US that would happen behind closed doors and they would just never launch the product. They would only launch the one that succeeded, right? In Japan, they literally bring all of them to market and let them fight it out in the market. I guess it kind of works because there's different places for different people instead of one thing trying to be a thing for everybody. But then it means like some of my favorite services have just like Mora Qualitas, which is the streaming version of Mora. That had high-res streaming before pretty much anything else. It had everything, even Western tracks on it. It was amazing. Then Oi, where I buy a lot of my tracks from because they're very... that's also Sony. Both these are Sony. Mora Non-Qualitas doesn't even let you browse the website properly unless you use a VPN. And won't even let you sign into your account if you're not in Japan. Whereas Oi, they'll take PayPal. And you just... There are some tracks limited to Japan. VPN fixes that. Because I just checked that thing. Like your IP. And you just give them money. So it's like... And then both of those are Sony. And then Oi tried like a streaming thing that I think got shut down, but all it was streaming like the tracks you bought from them. And I'm like, why? You would just put them on your phone. Don't know. So it's like it's very interesting, the different Paisley's destroying bubble wrap. I don't know if you can Paisley. Yeah, I don't know, guys. But yeah, it's very interesting. Like Japan, like companies compete against themselves, but like a different department of themselves. But they have a lot of companies that are just like ridiculously massive too. That's a common thing in Korea where they make the big companies make everything. It's like ridiculous. But what I was getting to is like the thing with the singles being digital and then still buying the CD, and then if you get the limited edition especially. You'll get benefits to getting the physical one, right? Then with TK, we've actually seen where like he'll have his physical race with the CD and the live thing, but then as an option for the digital version of the single, so I bought both the physical and the digital because the digital version of the single will be like 24-bit high res, just like or 5.1 even, which you could do on like a DVD, I guess, DVD audio, but that's very uncommon. He's mixed some of his concerts in surround as well. Some of them were shown in theaters right after Corona-chan. I didn't get to see that one. He said that one will never make it out because he said the only way to watch that properly was in theaters. Like it was mixed and the videos and stuff were designed for that. I really hope at some point they go back and make it available. But knowing him, if he says he won't, he won't. So those were like, now we've started seeing where like high-res versions of those singles, and those things like on the album are never made available. Like the whole album is never made available high-res. It was just the single. And then the physical one will be, CD quality, maybe with extras, right? But now what I've been seeing, like this one, where quite some time ago this was released digitally, and I do have it digitally from places. I'm trying to remember which one released. Like, I think it was Amazon Music Japan exclusive. There we go. So that's how I was able to get it, because Amazon lets you buy. Tidal stopped doing this in the US. I used to like Tidal for that, where like they had streaming, but then you could also just buy it, and it would be available in lossless. Whereas for the longest time, Amazon, if you bought it, was just MP3s. I don't know if that's still the case or not. I'm trying to remember. Either way, I got this digitally. But then like years later, it was available. I mean, not years. I would have to check again. Quite a while after. It was available, like at least 3 months. I know 3 months, 3 years. Split the difference, I guess. But what I was saying is that, like with the Back Horn, their anthology album that they just put out, their 25-year anthology, already available digitally, is not out physically until March, and the only way it's coming out is in a very limited edition release sold through like their label or their I don't know if it's necessarily their label. It might be their what do you want to call like EMI or Universal, like the bigger ones, because usually the labels are below that. Like they're going through their their label or production company's website for selling it. You can't even buy it through HMV. You can't buy it through CD Japan. It's only through there, and it's like 2 months after, right? And there's another one that I bought recently that was like that too, where digitally it was available much sooner. Or you'll see places that, like I said, that do those digital only singles, right? So digitally they're available much sooner. Then it's like, because I don't know, for like maybe it's the more popular bands, or it could just be a different take on trying to market and that sort of stuff. But yeah, so like I said, this was available way sooner as digital, but only in exclusive store. However, now that it's on CD, it is a limited production CD. Like as in it's only being, like they'll say it's only being sold from this time, or some of them will say it's only being produced this time. TK has had some of those too, where his singles are available physically, but and then they have the artwork of the anime on them, and that's what kind of gives you the reason to buy the physical one. But they're only like, hey, it's only available till June 1st or something, like that sort of a thing. And in this case, like they come out first digitally, like way long ago, and I don't know if they do well enough digitally that then they put out the physical release. Or in this case, the Back Horn announced the 25th anthology one digitally, and then we're like, yep, you can go to our website and sign up to get the limited edition. Are they like pre-selling them? You know what I mean? So then, because if you're a fan club, you can get it a little bit sooner, I think. A little bit cheaper, too. But, and if you're wondering why I'm not a part of any of the fan clubs, I can't read most of the stuff. Like, I actually was for Cinema Staff. Wait, did I just mess up Bump a Chicken and Cinema Staff? I might have swapped that earlier. Hold on. Yep, no, that's correct. It's Bump a Chicken. Okay, it's a Bump a Chicken. Correct. Yep. I was correct. Not crazy. But yeah, so that's just an interesting thing, is that months later they're coming out with the physical release. So in this case, they might be doing like a pre-sale, like how many of these do we make, because we're only selling in one place. It is also a best of album, so like theoretically those tracks are already available for streaming. They actually did that I think they do have some specific versions for the 25th one, but they actually had like this was even more interesting. They had a playlist of all the tracks that were going to be on the 25th anniversary album, right? Available for streaming services like Spotify and some other like Japanese specific ones that you could listen to before the actual album was out. Then they put the digital album out streaming. I don't know if they did digitally or not. I'd have to look that up. Like if you could buy it. And then, like I said, like it's March somethingth, and that's been out like beginning of, it was either end of December or beginning of January that the digital album was out, and then it's like March somethingth that the physical release is going to ship. Now there are benefits to that, live stuff basically, if I recall correctly, and fancy box, fancy box, and some other stuff like that, some benefits. But I just find it interesting. Like there's another one too that is like that, where the digital release comes first, and like in this case, okay, maybe the digital release was exclusive to Amazon Music, and if they want to get it to anybody else who doesn't have Amazon Music, because maybe that was less than expected, or maybe they knew that it had to have exclusivity for say if it was 3 years, it has to have exclusivity for 3 years. Then they can sell it on other forms, but they can't sell it digitally because a lot of these will specify like, oh, you signed a contract to only be able to sell or stream it, and because Amazon Music is a selling place too, and sell it digitally with Amazon Music. So if they want to get more money, hey, Paisley, hey, Paisley, no, Paisley, now you're being a poop, okay, Paisley. So maybe the reason why I got the CD is they wanted more sales of it, or because people, or because the streaming and or downloading or buying via Amazon Music was less than expected. They're like, oh, we need to get this out to more people or whatever, but they couldn't do it digitally in any other way because they were locked to, like they said, oh, that's an Amazon Music exclusive, which it was when it was announced, and specifically actually Amazon Music Japan exclusive, because you remember Amazon Japan works separately than Amazon US. Amazon UK kind of isn't as separate because you can buy stuff from Amazon UK on Amazon US if it's shipped and sold by Amazon UK. It's kind of weird. Can't go the other way, but you can just make a Amazon Japan thing, and if it's shipped and sold by Amazon Japan, they'll just ship it to the US for you. Obviously charge you international shipping. And a lot of sellers on there will also just ship it to the US. Very weird. Yeah, it was specifically specified because it's Amazon the Coda.jp, and that's what all their boxes say instead of just Amazon. They actually have like the Coda.jp thing. So, because I recently got this little guy on there, my little 1 terabyte. That's an SSD, guys. That's not, you're like, oh, it's a flash drive. No. That is an SSD that does 500 by 500 megabytes a second, 1 terabyte. Yeah. And I found this old flash drive cap that has metal clips in it. These bent sides here do impede, so I'm going to take some sandpaper, make that flat, and then this will go and snap in properly, and I can put it on a keychain and actually use it around here, because people are like, well, what do you need a terabyte SSD for? On my tools drive, all my tools. I used to use a flash drive, but even like once it got over 32 gigs, that got to be not viable. Then you can get a 256 gig flash drive now, but that would take forever to load stuff on because a lot of these tools are very tiny files, and flash drive controllers hate that. So I went to an external SSD, like one of my Samsung ones. Now I was going to go to this external SSD, this charge disk here. The little thing is the cable, or you can actually pop it out, and there's already a port on there. Super cool. Got a little fan in it too, so it doesn't overheat. Was gonna go to this, but then I was able to get that even smaller one from Japan, and so that I can just throw it on. My keys have tons, and it's a proper SSD controller, so it's not gonna bog down with tons of little files and that sort of. I mean, it'll slow down, but it won't like go down to 0.1 megabytes a second like a flash drive does. So, yeah, it's just interesting. Also, like I said, love this that it's a split, and they kind of did it like a two. What do they call them when there's like the two movies? My brain is farting. Even this looks like a ticket. They know what they were going for. Bump of Chicken, Asian Kung Fu Generation. This looks like it has a either art book or photo book in there, right? And then 2 Blu-ray disc set. So you got your disc 1 and 5-hour liner notes, director's cut edition. Holy jeez. Liner notes. If you guys don't know what those are, look up Anime Eco anime releases from like the early 2000s. There's some cool guys there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this totally quick unboxing of 46 minutes on the dot. Went through a lot of trouble for that album or the vinyl. Shouldn't have. Like I said, I was behind on all of these. I think one of these might have released, and that's what finally let this ship out. But I even forgot to order a bunch of these. Some of these are supposed to have pre-order bonuses with them. Like you get posters or you get pins or stickers, all that sort of stuff, because they want to get you to pre-order that sort of stuff. I missed all of that because I was, in some cases, months behind. But I had to use up my points. They were going to expire. Japan runs on points. However, in many cases, I got 20% when ordering this. I got 20% off and 30% back in points, and then used my points. And you're like, bro, what? Yes, 20%. Okay, so if you wait for the right sale, often you can get some percent back, like 10% back or 20% back, sometimes 30% back in points, right? And then often they'll do 10% off, especially on like used stuff, or if you buy 3 or more. Like that was one of these things, is you had to buy 3 or more new, not used stuff, but new stuff, and or I believe some of it was new releases. This one didn't count off the wall. I don't know why, even though it was a new release. But I still got my points on it. I just didn't get the money off. And then I used my points to buy it as well. So, yeah, you can. Sometimes HMV prices are more expensive, but once you figure in either the 30% back in points or the 20% off, sometimes it's 15. Usually the 30-20, I want to say once a month, at least once a quarter for sure, if not once a month. Basically, if there's not a sale this week, it's kind of like at Best Buy when we sold flash drives. If flash drives were not on sale, come back next week, flash drives will be on sale. And often, if like it'd be SanDisk flash drives are on sale, then P&Y flash drives are on sale. Then SanDisk flash drives are on sale. They would never be at the same time because then they have to compete on price. And I prefer the SanDisk ones. So you'd always be like, oh, I need a flash drive. Oh, they're not on sale. Come back next week, and then you buy 2 because if you need another one the next week, they wouldn't be on sale. There are actually some really nice P&Y flash drives, by the way. I have one around here. It actually has a cap still. But those were even being phased out while I was working. But for the most part, like the SanDisk ones were more reliable and faster than the P&Y ones. And on sale were cheaper than the P&Y ones were on sale. But not on sale, they were more expensive. Yeah. Nobody should ever buy a P&Y flash drive not on sale. The prices that they're at are like more than double what they are on sale. Insane. But yeah, if you can do this right, even the brand new stuff, and that's because they want you to come back, they want your business and that sort of stuff. But like even CD Japan, I have an affiliate code, so if you guys are gonna buy anything from that, hit me up. I can send you that. I don't know if I can just post it below or not. But they give points as well, and points do expire, and stuff like that. But often, say you buy, I don't know if it's like 5 new CDs, you'll have enough for another new CD. Like I covered on this order, I think with points I covered the entire shipping to the US, which was nearing, I want to say, $50 with it. And you're like, $50 for this? Yeah. Well, actually, it should be on here. I don't know if it was a different order then. No, prices are not on this. What about on this? They used to have prices on their packing slip. Oh, for reference, CD Maxi single, this guy, 1,200 yen. This, 1,800 yen. That's pretty cheap for a CD. Usually they're up in the 3,000 yen for a proper album. But this isn't really an album. It's like a tribute album. Sometimes those are more expensive. Often they're less expensive, especially the tribute albums. Best of albums can be cheaper too. There's definitely missing stuff. Compact disc, Blu-ray disc. Okay, so it looks like 15 or 4,300 yen for this guy. Or it might be 4,300 yen for this guy, 5,900 yen for this guy, and then this one was 10,000 yen for the dual Blu-ray one. Just for context on prices. I think those are pre-points, pre-discount, pre-points back, that sort of stuff. Let's look up HMV real quick. HMV. Order. Thank you for your order. Thank you for your order. Yeah. So delivery cost was 4,800 yen. So normal prices, that would be like $48. Now that's like 2/3, closer to half actually in some cases. But I had coupons off 5,500 yen is what I had saved up since the last time I had ordered. So I more than covered the shipping with that. And yes, often you're gonna look at 1,800 to 2,000 yen to ship. Like if you're like, I would like to get this, that's 1,800 to 2,000 yen. Something like even this can be 1,500, if not 1,800, for just a CD, single CD. That is why you kind of like, I bulk them up. Usually if they release within a month, either way, so that's like 2 months essentially, like, you know, of each other, then I'll let them stack up, because you have like 30 days roughly, you know, if you time it right. So some of them I might get the pre-order bonus for, etc., etc. But that usually I try to do within a month, to be truthful, if I can. In some cases it's 2, just because you're like, that's another 20 days, can I wait for it? Or is this, like, some of these are like, this was already available digitally, I do not need this on launch. No need. Literally, you already have it. But this will give a better one, and because it's a limited edition one, it'd be a nice one to have in the collection. You know what I mean? Because it's a kind of exclusive, etc. That's kind of like what collecting is about. Like same thing with this one. The single for this is available. Not gonna kill me. Some of these though are only available in this form. So yes, I would like those sooner. So I'll usually base the shipping around getting, like, that one will be the last one to release, like the one I really want, and then it'll ship from there. Then I'll place a new order, essentially, after that. But try and bundle it up. To be truthful, if you get too much more than this, like even this was starting to push the prices going way up. Some of the ones where you see me order the big bundles of used stuff, that is over 10,000 yen to ship. In some cases, I think it was like 13,000 yen to ship one of them. Just because of sheer weight, it's like 30 CDs or something, plus vinyl or whatever, you know. It's just a lot of weight, a lot of size, a lot of everything. So with that, I'm getting a lot of value out of it because it's used. Most of the used stuff I buy is like 300 yen. So in that case, all of your cost is actually shipping, not the CDs, because I buy them right over there. They're, see, big stacks, used CDs. In many cases, though, I wouldn't have bought the CD had it not been that cheap, because a lot of it is available digitally, but maybe not in lossless quality, etc. Or in any case, if you guys are wondering, a lot of these streaming platforms, that what they're called? Platforms, yeah. Have now started to do this super annoying thing where they will replace versions on albums. So if one track is available on an album, they will not take that same track and make it available as the greatest hits. Now, often those are the same version. I'm kind of okay with that. Kind of like what the Backhorn did with that their new greatest 25th anniversary greatest hits album. They actually made a sound or a playlist available before even the digital version was out. That was the tracks. Kind of cool, you know. What is worse though is often when they have the singles, they will take the version from the album because they have the album, right, and they'll make it available as the single. Or if that same track is available on another album or another thing, they'll reuse that same version. And for those wondering, a lot of these tracks, not even just Japan is like this, but the US and all these other, you know, like, say if you like Queen, like I like Queen, they'll have different versions, all studio versions, but, you know, like the remastered track is not the same as the original 80s track, etc., etc. But they'll only have the one version. So when you listen to them, you're actually hearing either, usually it's the album version, whether or not that's supposed to be the album version there or not. And what this is this to save storage and streaming and caching, because then they only have to have that one track, and whether somebody cues the greatest hits, the album or the single, or, you know, some compilation that it's on, it's all the same track. And I can understand from a delivery perspective, but as someone who actually likes music, collects it, and maybe I listen to, especially like say Zazen Boys, their single versions are different than they end up with on the album, because when you make an album, you make a cohesive piece, like the track should. No, I understand this doesn't always happen with all artists, but in many cases they're trying to make a cohesive album. Like, some people may call it sacrilegious, but I do listen to, and this comes down to having owned the iPod Shuffle and loving it. I listen to everything on Shuffle, and then what you do is once you hit a artist you're vibing with, right, then you switch it to album mode, and you just continue playing whatever album or artist it's on, and that comes from the Shuffle, because the Shuffle had two modes. You play them alphabetically. You know, it goes album or artist, album, track, essentially, and track should be alphabetically, but it'll be numbered, so numbered alphabetically. But then you just throw it on Shuffle, and you'd be like, I don't know what I'm vibing today, you know, listening, I'm not feeling this track, hit next, you know, then you hit, you know, like, say you're just, like, down and out, but then you hear some Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, and you're like, oh, yeah, dude, I'm vibing. Okay, then you switch back to like, alphabetical mode, right? And you listen to the Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra album, and probably more Tokyo Ska if you're like me, and you have their whole discography, or most of it. I can't say for a lot of artists I actually have the whole discography. That a lot of the artists I listen to have lots of stuff, especially when it comes down to EPs and singles. Japan loves those, and I love them too. Like, I do enjoy that. I'm just saying, tracking some of these down, especially like you saw, some of these today are only available physically, or only available on exclusive stores online. That's been a thing for a long time, even if you bought them physically. And like, I enjoy all that. So the fact that these streaming services, to save bandwidth essentially and save storage and streaming costs, are like they're controlling what version of the song you're listening to. And I know even on Deezer, I think I ran into it was an Italian band that was on First Take, and I was trying to find like the version of the song that they performed when they won Eurovision. I think it's Eurovision. Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you from Europe. And I couldn't find it on there. They had like the modern take of it, but I couldn't find the version that won them thing, and that's what I wanted to listen to. Could find it on YouTube, listen to it there, but that's obviously not going to be lossless, not going to be etc. So, like, that's happening. And you know, for example, like, had I not known that this specifically was put out digitally as its own thing specifically on Amazon Music, a lot of these tracks potentially could be done off of other things. You know, like they just rip them off of that and just make a playlist, like a glorified playlist, essentially. Which is not where I want things to go. You know, I like having, you know, like these defined versions and stuff like that. And if you ever take a look at like the metadata and stuff, a lot of them will be pulled like specially greatest hits. They'll just grab the album version. Sometimes the greatest hits are actually cut down, like if you get the actual version, because they're trying to fit more tracks. Now, I'm not saying you should have a cut down version on the greatest hits. Some of you will take that wrong. I'm just saying that it'll have a different version. I now have a kitten. Her name is Paisley. Well, I've had her for a while, but she's now in my chest. And I think it's time to end this video. What do you think, Paisley? What are you going after, huh? You just can't settle. Is it time to watch some anime? Look at that cuteness. Yeah. Well, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall.